All right, pay attention. Don't write this off as insanity. You see what this is? That's a heart. These are the heart valves. And right there across the heart, there is two sets of, or there's an artery and a vein, and they oppose each other and they snap right apart. When they do the autopsies, they just almost fall apart because it's called iron banding. There's the red and the black iron, and they're opposite polarities. They snap right apart, and you end up with this. Well, guess what? That is exactly identical to a heart. Bennu. It is a heart. And they came back with the sarcomeres, which are the actual muscles. I was shocked when I saw it. I knew it was a heart, but I didn't know they come back with the muscle. And this is where it breaks right off here, because there's a layer between here that they oppose each other. So this is a heart, Bennu. Now, let's see what they came back with. Here's what they did. They went up there, and they went right down in here, point of impact. And they thought they were just going to snip it off the top, but they sunk deep in, because this is nothing but blood cells. And yes, it's blood cells. These are the colors of blood. No question about that. Red, black, and yellow. Those are the oxidation states of iron. This is a heart, and this, they came back with muscle sarcomeres. I'll show you. All right, this is a heart attack. This is heart muscle, and this is where it's ripped and torn from a heart attack victim. These are what's called muscle sarcomeres. They have a layer above and below and a block in the center. What they do is they contract this way and relax this way. And your heart goes, and this one here can't pull. Heart attack. Now, these are muscle sarcomeres, which comes from a heart. What if they came back from Bennu with some of this? What would you think then? Because they did come back from Bennu with this. These are muscle sarcomeres. This is small, 1 millimeter is this wide. So they're tiny little muscle sarcomeres, but this is a huge heart. It's in space. I'm sorry. It's just a fact. Get over it. This gives so much to start examining. It's just incredible. They saw this white stuff here in a certain type of light, which made it show up as white. He said, "Oh, what's this?" Well, it's a phosphate. Phosphate is from phospholipid membranes. These are membranes. So what they did was they looked deeper and deeper and deeper into it, and here's what they found. You have a phospholipid membrane here. You have the muscle sarcomeres here. And then above the sarcomeres, you have another layer of membranes, and then you have another layer of sarcomeres. Now, this comes a little closer right down to the actual blocks of sarcomeres. Those aren't just broken up little bits and pieces of rock. Those are sarcomeres between two phospholipid layers. And even when they brought it back, this is the phosphate surprise. We had no idea what to expect. I expect some discussion about this. Okay, so you're probably thinking this guy's insane. But I'm saying that's a heart. And that is anatomically a heart, and so is Psyche, this is Bennu, this is Psyche. Psyche is saturated with metals. Now those metals smelt in space if it gets too close to a hot source, which it did. Now this is a heart, and so is Bennu. Now, can I show you other things in space that are body parts? Yes, I can. And this thing is absolutely gigantic. And all the ancient cultures talked about battles in the heaven, and they saw these things happen, and it's been written out of history because it's insane. I didn't say it's not insane. It is insane, but it is a fact. And I'll show you Comet 67P. I followed that thing as close as anybody. I have the chemistry about it. I'll show you right now. All right, now this is Comet 67P. I'm going to be showing you in a second. I think it was 2014, 2015, right in that area. They landed a craft on this comet, and they did sampling of the, right here I have the samples, and they were right there on it, taking all these pictures. Now, what did they find? Well, first of all, this is right up close and personal. I'm going to tell you what this is right now. Is a hip joint. You say, oh, come on, Roger, that's crazy. Well, let's find out. Take your time and look at that bundle. Does that look just like nothing to you? What formed that? And what are these little pinchy things? And I do know what they are because they're tendons and entheses, and tendons and muscle fibers. And this is the socket, the ball. These are the tendon fibers. Now let me show you what a hip looks like and why I say this is a hip. Because here it is right here. It's from a different angle. There's the hip bone. And there's the ball in the socket. What it's got left covering it, I don't know. Because it's supposed to be smooth if it was just the ball. So it's still coated with something, I believe. But they break off. They just break off. This one broke at the hip socket. And that's not uncommon. This is what they do. They break right off. Sometimes here, sometimes there, sometimes here. And ours is basically over in this area, I believe. You see? And that, now, what about the chemistry? And what would it do if it was actually a hip socket? You need blood. You need some muscle. You need some tendon to make that thing work. Now, I don't know what kind of a creature it was in, but they all work pretty much the same. Now, where would the blood come out of? Well, let's look at this. What the hell's going on there? Comets don't dust off. They gas off. And you say, gas? Where's the gas coming from? That's an artery. That's an artery. And it's got, the sun is hitting it exactly correctly to cook. It's actually sending infrared radiation or whatever the radiation is into that to cook the blood that's down in there. And it's shooting out gases of blood, hydrocarbons primarily. Well, they're polycyclic aromatic hydrocarbons. Hold on. This is nothing more than barbecue gas. And this is proliferating all out in space. And all of the astronauts say when they go on the spacewalks, when they come back in, take their suits off, it smells like steak or burned metals. Hearts and cooked gases from bodies, the blood is what cooks primarily. And that gives off metals. And they say it smells like welding rods and metals burning and steak. That's what that's the astronauts say, and it should, obviously. You know how big that artery is? It's gigantic. These are the little blood vessels that are feeding all of the tissues up above. That's why they're shooting out wherever that little blood vessel was pointing. Okay, so we know Bennu is a heart. We know that 67P is a hip joint, and that is barbecue smoke coming out of there. And this is the gases that they found. You see this iron, these are all the different iron in the blood. I contact them. They go, hydrocarbons, this is all blood. These are blood gases and blood chemistry. You know, body, organic. They knew this. There was no question about it. They had the Philae lander went down there. This is what broke off, and you can see some tendons, and you can see some muscles there, and you can see the break in the bone. This is not a mystery here. It's gigantic. I'm not saying it's not. This is 40 meters. This is 500 feet across. They call these are blood vessels, they call them dragon balls. And when the sun hit it exactly right down inside, it just squirted out gases like on steroids. And when it hit these other ones, they shoot out too, because they're the little blood vessels. That's the big boy that comes down to feed. Everybody has arteries and they have blood vessels. That's basic anatomy. And this thing is so gigantic that's Raleigh, North Carolina, on a very bad day. 67P. I followed this inside and out. The European Space Agency did it. I have a friend that used to, he's retired now, but he supported all these different agencies. And he sends me a lot of good stuff, Pedro, my good friend. So I expect NASA to address these things. They're saying ingredients for life? No, it is life that exploded from gigantic creatures. The Earth is made out of gigantic creatures. They can look down from space and see it. They are avoiding reality and truth. Now, if we want to be able to trust these people, they have to respond to what I just presented. And I expect Trump and Vance and Musk and a whole crew of them to say, what's going on? Why aren't you guys looking at this? Roger's got evidence. Let's talk. That's all I want to do is talk. And I have so much evidence about this stuff. And the health and the interstitium. This layer in the human body, this is your immune system. I covered all this stuff. And so Trump is 100% right to shake things up big time. All right, I'm going to leave it at that. Thank you. I love you all.